There is a new crazy Avengers Endgame theory making the rounds on the internet. This one all about how the snap might be a one-time only event. I love this theory and I think it will have a huge impact on how the Avengers defeat Thanos. Stay up to date about the nerdy things you care about. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. I'm, of course, Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. This theory's pretty sweet. You guys know how I like talking about these Reddit theories, especially when they have some really cool implications and threads for us to go down. But before we get into all that craziness, let's shout out Mike Malay, who got the nerd card question correct in the video yesterday. Yes, indeed, Captain Marvel and War Machine have not been shown in the quantum suit. However, due to some leaked images, we did actually see Ant-Man in a quantum suit. Kind of interesting though, because his suit can already go into the quantum realm. Maybe these aren't quantum suits, maybe there's something else. Either way, Mike Malay, you got the nerd card question correct. Shout out to you, and we'll do another question at the end of this video. This theory is hot off of the presses of Reddit. User Thomas C. Galvin posted this just yesterday, and the main focus of this theory goes to the moment in which Doctor Strange hands the time stone over to Thanos in exchange for Tony Stark's life. Thomas believes that while looking ahead into the future, Doctor Strange saw that the snap would be a one-time only event, and that the trick to beating Thanos was not exactly preventing the snap, but getting the snap to be done in an ideal situation for them to then beat Thanos. The theory basically outlines how the snap does damage the gauntlet seemingly permanently, which we know will still allow it to use the gem separately, but a lot of people have speculated will likely not allow it to use all of the gems simultaneously to be able to do another snap. There's also mention of the fact that Thanos cut off the hands of Eitri, and this sort of prevents another gauntlet from being created, or at least one being created by Eitri himself. Thomas also talks about how if these events were to be undone by the time stone, they would seemingly undo events that led to the snap itself and sort of undo the snap. And so Thanos is kind of in a corner here where he can't take back the things that he did to prevent another gauntlet from being made. And so if the Avengers can undo the snap somehow with maybe their own gauntlet, Thanos will not be able to just do the snap again with the gauntlet that he has. So it's a pretty cool theory. I like where Thomas's head is at, and it kind of makes me want to deep dive on this. So here, let's go to Speculation Town and talk about some things that I want to add to this theory. Number one, it's important to note that due to the new synopsis that was leaked, we know that undoing the snap is the major priority for the Avengers. Now, I always thought this was kind of obvious, but it's in print now, and I know there's some people saying that that synopsis is not legitimate, but everything that I've seen from it makes it look pretty legit. So they're trying to undo the snap. That's important to note for this theory. Undoing the snap becomes even more important if Thanos indeed cannot perform the snap again. Also, the damage to Thanos and the gauntlet does seem to be permanent. This is something the Russo brothers actually talk about in the director's commentary for Infinity War. They make mention of this damage and do say that it is permanent. Also note, the damage to the gauntlet was put into the very first Endgame trailer. This is something that the Russo brothers want you to be thinking about. I also love how this theory focuses on the event of Doctor Strange giving up the stone for Tony. That's just a thing that has really bothered a lot of fans, including myself. There's something going on there. We've talked about maybe the possibility of Doctor Strange cursing the time stone. We've talked about all sorts of different things, but what if it's not just that Tony Stark is central to saving the universe, but that doing the snap the way that Thanos did, under the circumstances in which he did, was very important to beating Thanos in the long run. Many fans have speculated about how in Infinity War, it really seems like Thanos is not interested in personally killing many people. He just wants to get the stones and do the snap. I mean, he could have permanently killed Drax and Gamora when they're on Nowhere. He chooses not to. He could have unleashed way more crazy powers of the gauntlet when he's both on Titan and in Wakanda. In fact, the only moment that he really does consider killing an Avenger, other than, of course, Vision, who he needs to kill to get the stone, is with Tony. And Doctor Strange is like, yo, we can't have that happen. In the comic books, it's Thanos' hubris that really gets him in the end. It's his absolute faith in himself as an omnipotent god that becomes his downfall. And I kind of like the idea of his passive nature in Infinity War, if you want to call it passive, is sort of his undoing. He lets all of these people live and then just does the snap, and he's like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. I did what I needed to do. I'm hanging up the jersey, which is another thing that the Russo brothers have talked about, and that's it. But in allowing certain characters to live and stay around and performing the snap with them alive, what if that creates a situation in which he can't use the full power of the gauntlet, the Avengers can reassemble and be mighty again themselves to challenge him, and when they defeat him, he will not be able to do the snap again. He used his one-time use, that's it. Weakening the gauntlet and weakening Thanos is a key part of getting this victory. Now let's talk about Tony for another moment here. Now, I'm so excited to see Tony just doing his thing in Endgame. I mean, this guy started the MCU. He's the character we probably love the most. Maybe Cap is above him a little bit, but they're at least two of the most loved characters we've got. And the thing about Tony in the comics is that he's the best builder of all time. Like, Reed Richards may be smarter. Doctor Doom may even be a little bit more intelligent, but nobody is a better builder than Tony Stark. A lot of fans talk about how we might need to make a new gauntlet. And the reason I really like this idea here is because rather than the gauntlet that Thanos already has being taken from him and then using that to undo the snap, I like the idea of them creating a gauntlet. If the snap is indeed a one-time thing only, if it did damage that gauntlet permanently, which we know that it did, then that really means there's only one way around that. Create another gauntlet. And so maybe Tony Stark goes where E3 is at and he recreates either a gauntlet or a suit of armor or something that allows them to wield the gems. I mean, think about it. Why else would Tony be that important? How is it that Tony Stark is more valuable than the Time Stone? Well, other than some weird trickery that maybe Doctor Strange put on the Time Stone, it would be the fact that Tony would have the ability to create another gauntlet, which would have the ability to use all of the stones. Last thing I want to say here is that this falls in line with this idea I have about ultimate sacrifice. Tony Stark or Captain America, or maybe both of them, will likely lay themselves out on the line, sacrificing themselves to defeat Thanos. And why I think this is important is because if they create this gauntlet, and if that gauntlet can, undo the snap with perhaps the same energy that the other gauntlet did the snap, it would enact a terrible toll. And so perhaps this could be a way for Tony Stark to go out. He grabs all the stones as he's being destroyed by all of the power of the Infinity Stones. He snaps himself, undoing the snap that Thanos originally did. I think it would be a super cool way for him to go out. But that's the news, guys, breaking down that crazy theory, making the rounds out there on the internet. You'll probably see some articles or videos pop up about it. Go give that thread some love on Reddit. I'll link it below. And let me know your thoughts on this theory and the things that I sort of added to it. Love doing this stuff with you guys and just putting our brains together and coming up with all this craziness when it comes to Endgame. The hype and the mystery is pretty unprecedented when it comes to this movie. So that's just what we're doing, baby. We're doing what we do. Let's hit the nerd card before we get out of here. And this might be a softball for some of you, but I think it's important for everyone to remember. And the question is, who was the comic book creator that created Thanos the Mad Titan? Answer that question in the comment section below. Guys, the video yesterday got hit with some weird YouTube stuff. If you didn't see it, go check it out. It's talking about those toy leaks with the quantum suits, just sort of reiterating some of the stuff we've been talking about. But yeah, go check that video out and look forward to a lot of crazy videos coming out for the rest of the week here at the Den of Nerds. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.